So as a seven-figure business owner, I was thinking about what were the specific things that helped me actually start becoming profitable, and not just profitable, but like kingdom profitable, like the things that helped me give more, tithe more, employ people, like truly make a difference as a business owner. And I came up with 7 things. So let's get into what those 7 exact things were that helped me grow a 7-figure annual revenue company all online as a Christian business owner. So real talk, and the one that you probably don't want to hear and that might sound cliche, but the one that's the literal most important, is that I had to surrender my business to God. I had been running my own business my own way for years, and that ended up leaving me idolizing my business, focused only on success, hustling, putting my family and sometimes my marriage second to taking the next call or closing the next deal. And sure, I was having success, but it was literally at the expense of everything in my life. And I had this breakdown moment in 2016 where I got out a sheet of paper, I got a notebook and pen, and I just journaled to God, like, God, who are you calling me to be? And how am I supposed to be that when I am a completely broken person? And God ended up completely redeeming me from that day forward, helping me really partner with him in all these areas, but most specifically in relation to this video, in business. I started to integrate my faith in my work, and I started to see crazy things happen. So tactically, what did I actually do here? I made a decision that God is not just going to be my savior, but that he is my Lord in every area of my life. I am done compartmentalizing business from God. Like, he is going to be in all of it. And that day was a huge day for me. I got out a notebook and pen and I started journaling and writing out this woman that I knew God had created me to be in my life and in my business. And then I had a true, like, no pun intended, come to Jesus meeting with God about what he wanted for my business. And I think that were the very first steps that helped me know I was called for something more in this space. I was called to marketplace, but that God was still going to be in the details. That was the very first thing I did. Okay, now the second thing I did to make 7 figures online as a Christian business owner is I had to get out of my own way and stop assuming that I knew who I was called to help and guessing. I had to truly discern and discover who my person was. And I ended up learning that I didn't really know who I was called to help and serve until I really got into the weeds and into the details. I started diving through Facebook groups, talking to people, putting out polls, and getting to know this woman, and for me, that I was supposed to help. And what did I learn about her in particular? Well, she wanted to grow a kingdom business, but she didn't know that it was kingdom, right? She wanted to make impact and help people, but she wasn't calling it that. She was actually saying stuff like, I just want to make some money online. I want to be able to work from home, right? And so the way that she was positioning her needs, desires, and pain points was a huge disconnect from what I thought that she actually needed and wanted. So once I got really clear on who she was, and I'm talking like one person, like the power of one. I had her name in my mind. It was Lola, okay? I knew her demographic status. I knew how many kids she had. I knew where she was in her business journey. I was then able to really specifically speak to her on what I'm going to come to in just a second, the next steps that I needed to do to ultimately really make a true difference for this woman. So you've got to get out of your own head around who you think you serve, and you've got to go do some research. I teach my students to do market research, and if I was to give you a little hack here, get on the phone or a Zoom call with 5 people who are your ideal avatar and ask them questions like, what is your number 1 problem right now? Why? And then just like awkward silence. Like, let them answer you. What have you tried that hasn't worked? Let's see. If this was no longer a problem for you, what would be different? And if you ask these questions, you're going to receive gold. You are going to receive the perfect positioning for your business to actually reach the people it's called to reach. The third thing I did, I started a podcast. And I'm going to argue that this was the most important step of gaining trust with my audience. So it's one thing to know exactly who you're talking to, but it's quite another thing to actually connect with them and then have them care, you know? Like the online space is so saturated, and that is why I am not a component of growing a business on social media. I actually think social media steals success from you. I'm gonna link a video for you right here in case you're curious about my theory. But when I started my podcast, I was now able to capture attention of my ideal person for 15, 20, even 30 minutes at a time. There's no other platform and space where you can hold attention for that length of time. Like, are you even still on this YouTube video right now? Like, video content is so hard to hold attention, but audio consumption, like you've got people's full out attention for an extended period of time. So my podcast, it's called Online Business for Christian Women, okay? It was really targeted to my Lola. She found my podcast because of what I titled it. She liked the way that I had set it up because I know strategically how to create a podcast art that's really highly converting. I used keywords that she was going to be typing in and looking up, like, for example, work from home or online marketing. She found my show, she listened, and I am telling you, within 1 to 2 episodes, I had a new subscriber, and not just a new subscriber, but somebody who trusted me. And if you ever want to make 7 figures in your business, in your company, you're going to have to earn people's trust. And a podcast was my secret to doing that. The fourth thing that I did to make 7 figures is I had to come up with the core offer. Now, this was not born overnight. Please know, I started with online coaching, and that I was able to scale from $80 an hour to $800 an hour in less than 24 months. But that was so invaluable. Less than it being really highly profitable, which is great and a fantastic problem to have, that you continue to grow demand so intentionally that you ultimately raise your prices. That's great. I hope that for everyone. But it gave me the clarity on what she actually needed, because I'm sitting there day after day coaching people. That's why I teach my students to coach first, especially when you're new and you're not really profitable yet. It's invaluable for helping you come up with what your future offer, your 7-figure offer, is going to be. So I was like in it with these women for years, one-on-one coaching, figuring out their pain point and their problem, which led me to a clarity course, which was fantastic, what their business was supposed to be, because that was really truly the first problem that they had. The second course I created was called Podcast Pro University, teaching them how to then take their clarity on their business and launch a podcast, because we knew, okay, this is step 1, this is step 2. And then ultimately, a few years later, this was about 4 years into my business, I created this. It's called Podcast to Profit, and it was a 6-month group coach. It is a 6-month group coaching program. And I ended up having this really encompass the core offer. Why? Because you can't just get clarity on a business and then it's going to be successful. That's like step micro A1 of the appendix A, you know? You can't just launch a podcast. Like so many people launch podcasts that don't actually grow and don't have traction and that aren't successful because there's strategy around podcasting and there's market research that needs to be done. There's a formula to ultimately having a profitable podcast, which is why this group coaching program encompassed everything that she needed, from clarity to launching the podcast to monetization, building an online course, a group coaching program, like literally had everything inside of it. And when I finally got clear on the words that she was using to explain it, like I need consistent income. I want a course that sells on autopilot. I want to scale my business. I want to help people. I want my downloads to explode. Like I started to learn and be super intentional with what my customer, my future customer was saying. And I brought it into my product. And they also wanted accountability, which is why I decided on a group coaching program instead of a passive one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I got super duper duper clear on what this core offer needed to be. I launched it beta. And that wasn't perfect because it never is. And then I refined it and I refined it year after year after year. And now 3 years later of this particular product being in the world, it's a 7-figure product. And it's literally so not hard. And this is like, it can be so much simpler than you think. Like this is the back office of my program. It has 6 steps over the course of 6 months. And it teaches them everything that they specifically want. It's amazing. And so when my students come through this program with me, they're learning everything, like how to create a course. I'm teaching them all of the little nuanced pieces to having something that's going to be scalable online. So that is the fourth thing that's going to really grow your kingdom business, is taking this podcast that you've created and then getting in the weeds with some of your listeners, do some one-on-one coaching to discern and discover what they really need and want, and then work on what that one core offer will be. Yes, it took me a few different offers to ultimately land here, but that's the point. Like, it's a journey to landing where you're ultimately called to be. And now that I have this product, it just makes so much sense that this is the offer that they all desperately needed and wanted. Okay, so the fifth thing that I did that really helped me grow a 7-figure company is I started an email list. And I am so glad that I started doing this right away. Why? Because now I have over 27,000 people who are on my list. This means if social media explodes tomorrow, which, by the way, like, TikTok literally was gone in the blink of an eye and then came back. But like, what if your entire business was founded on a platform that could disappear overnight? No, thank you. Which is why I am super here for my own long form, like podcasting, my own like contact portal, which is your emails. Okay. You want to hold, collect, nurture, and love on the people that God sends you. And that is your email list. So why has this been so important? Let me show you. So last year alone, if we think about the 27,000 people that were getting emailed from me, and I typically send a love note every Friday, which has like a heartfelt story for me about something that I've gone through recently. It directs people to go listen to my latest podcast episode, to watch my latest YouTube video. And then it has a CTA of some kind, typically to come and watch my boot camp, which literally teaches you every single thing that I am talking about in today's video. I have a 5-day boot camp that walks you through this exact thing, but in way more depth. It's 1 hour a day for 5 days. If you're interested in that, stephanigass.com/bootcamp. And they come, and like, this works. And so just to prove my point, we have over a 98% delivery rate, which means my messages are getting in front of people. 38% plus are opening the email. Like, where else can we say and prove that over 38% of people are looking at our content? Definitely not on social media. It's actually less than 1% of people will look at your content on social, and that is in less than a 24-hour period. That is time wasted, in my opinion. 1.23% of people clicked on something in the email, which, if we run the math on that, 1.23% of roughly 27,200 people is 334 people. That means 334 people are literally clicking and doing the things that I'm telling them to do inside of my emails. Amazing. It's just crazy. So what do you do here? Well, friend, you need to think about why someone would come to your email address. And this can be so simple. I don't think you need 37 freebies. Honestly, you don't even need one. If you start your podcast, you can tell people, hey, come and join my email list, and I will send you the podcast episode early every single week. Plus, you'll be the first to know about insider tricks and tips, or meal prep hacks every Saturday, or marriage communication Bible verses. Like, whatever you do, give them a reason that they would want to get that in email format with you, and let that be enough. I'm here for simplification and sustainability. I am not here for overcomplicating your life with more things and funnels that could break. You don't need it. Okay, the sixth thing, oh my gosh. Boy, mom. Okay. The sixth thing that I did is I created a Facebook community. Now, does your community have to be on Facebook? No, but you do need a community. Why? Well, we've got clarity on our person. We've started the podcast, and we are working on growing our email list. We're focusing on a core offer. However, a lot of that is really one-dimensional, right? It's you talking at them, the podcast, the email list. And so I needed to create a place where they could talk back to me. So we created this community, this Facebook group, where people were really feeling seen, heard. They could post things. We had fun, interactive days. We still have it. I don't know why I'm talking in past tense. We have over 11,000 people in here, by the way, who are kingdom business owners, just like you. If you want to come and join us, the link to this group right here is stephgasscommunity.com. stephgasscommunity.com. But in essence, it gave them a place to feel seen, heard, and actually interact, not just with me and my team, but with each other. And I think if you can focus on cultivating a culture where people feel seen, valued, safe, a trustworthy place for them to go, they're going to be willing to spend money with you, to work with you, because everything that you put into the world that's free, imagine if that starts helping them at a really high capacity. Now they're like, whoa, like if this is the kind of community that's free for me to be a part of, I think I want to join her student communities. I want to join the group coaching programs. I want to work with this person, right? So focus on growing a community that is rich, that is fun, that is immersive, and that they can really be seen and heard and valued. Okay, the seventh final thing that I did to create a 7-figure online business as a Christian business owner is I got serious about having an urgency offer that was going to help me convert. I was making sales off of the podcast all the time, sometimes daily, but I knew that there was a larger capacity for this company, that I was called to serve in a larger way financially to the church, to my community. I knew that I was meant to employ more people in this company. And like when women of God, and men too, I see you guys here, go big for the kingdom of God, He will use us in a kingdom capacity. And we need to not shy away from financial abundance, because we can do incredible things, not just for our family, not just to get out of debt and take trips and do the things that I think are perfectly okay to do as Christians, but also for others. We love God and then we love our neighbors, right? So what else can we do for our world while we're here on this side of heaven? Go big for God in our companies. And so what I realized is that I needed something big and powerful and immersive. And I started doing something called a 5-day live boot camp. I started this 2 years ago. And this was, oh my gosh, the big breakthrough event that took us from multi-6-figure to a 7-figure company. So what is it? Basically, I put together a 5-day training, which takes people through all the things I just taught you on this video today. How we surrender our business to God, how we uncover who our person is, starting a podcast, creating a core offer, and then selling that offer. Those 5 things specifically. I gave you guys here a few more little tips, like growing your email list and this particular thing, this urgency offer here. But oh my gosh, friends, like this was it. People wanted to be live with me. They wanted to hang with me. They got so much value out of it. So this is the page we set up for people to come, which by the way, I have one coming up in 25 days. If you want to experience what I'm teaching you right now so that you can maybe run your own boot camp in the future, you're invited. Hurry, because it's literally happening in 25 days. Go to stephaniegass.com/bootcamp and you'll land here on this pretty page and you can sign up for it. And then we can hang out live together. It's going to be the best. But when they join, they get put into this amazing Facebook group here. And it's so fun. Like we're giving away prizes. We've structured it in such a way so that people are adding it to their calendar. Like they're going to come to this event. And this is free, by the way. And basically, once I ran this, I realized that I could go from, 1-2% conversion rate just straight organically from the podcast, from the email list, which I'm not mad at whatsoever. But using this tool, this live immersion 5-day training experience, I could go to a 5, 6, 7, and even a 21% conversion rate. Yes, those are actual true numbers of live launches that I have had in the past that created multi-6 figures in the span of about 14 days. And that, my friend, is highly, highly powerful. And it's not just about making the money. It's about getting people to overcome their fears to working with you, right? Because your offer shouldn't just be about you making money and growing your business. And if it is, it's not going to have the favor of the Lord on it. Like, end of story. But if you're creating something that you know your person desperately has been praying for, and you know that God's equipped you with that thing, and you know how to do it, I think you're called to create it. And you're also called to sell it, because that is the solution that people want and need. And money is the means of exchange that God created. And so let's make this really simple and clean and easy and okay as business owners, CEOs, to show up and shine in the work that God has positioned us in.
Yes or yes. Give me an amen in the comments below if you are still with me right now. So this is what I've created. It's so powerful. And so basically, even if they don't come, they can watch the replay. They have a workbook that they can download. It is so powerful. So again, if you want to come and actually see me run a live boot camp so that you can not just hear me tell you that this works, but watch me and let me prove to you that this works, again, go to stephaniegass.com/bootcamp.
That's it. Those are the 7 things that I did to create a 7-figure, God-honoring business. Number 1, I surrendered my business to God. Number 2, I got clear on who my person was. Number 3, I started a podcast. Number 4, I created a core offer. Number 5, I built an email list. Number 6, I started a community. And number 7, I created a 5-day urgency offer. That's it. Those were my things, and now they can be yours. I hope you come to my bootcamp so that you can learn way more about doing this just like I have. stephaniegass.com/bootcamp. And by the way, are you liking this video? Please leave me a comment below and like the video. It helps me grow, and I'm still a new channel. Help me grow with what you liked most about this video and what you want me to coach you on next. I'll see you next week.